Welcome back, baseball fans, to another elimination video. We are eliminating the Colorado Rockies 1977 and 1980. Fun era for them. A lot of sluggers. Pretty much is one of the more competent teams in the all-expansion division, and they win another division title, win a playoff game, wild card game, but lose to the number one seeded Astros. Last year, it wasn't that particularly interesting. They were 15 and 17, though Champ Summers was the American League Rookie of the Year with a 79 card, 14 homer, 28 RBI. Rick Auerbach, 273. Monday at 274, Money 246. They had Dick Drago, he's gone now. Ron Reed, he's now in the bullpen, and Al Fitzmaurice. Some of the guys from last year's team to bring up. But we are taking a look right here at the stats for 2021. And your top hitter is Auerbach again at 305. You've got Jason Thompson. You don't see double-digit homers anywhere, which is disappointing. Jason Thompson's got a great card for that thing. Don Money, Champ Summers, Joe Ferguson had 9, 28 RBI. A 260 hitting team, 163 walks, 192 strikeouts. You like that. 347 on base, you like that. You just didn't get enough home runs, in my opinion. 45 homers in 36 games for a team that relies on the long ball. As far as pitching goes, they brought in Frank Pastore's 1980 card. He does fine. None of these guys can pitch on 3 days rest, so you see a low innings pitch totals out of Pastore and Larry Mack. Your 1 and 2 guys were 10 and 3. But like I said, they only picked 68 innings because they can't pitch on 3 days rest. And once you get past those guys, it's pretty ordinary after that. So let's take a look and see what happens with the 77 guys of the Colorado Rockies that have to be removed from their stack. And here we are. We want to get rid of the 77 guys of the Colorado Rockies. A, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And it's always kind of disappointing for the Rockies because those extra players are sometimes only good once in 4 years. This particular crew, I see a couple futures here, maybe 3, maybe 4 guys have futures after the year of 77. Let's see who's coming back for the team. They're going to bring back 6 and 6. So, Joe Ferguson's a catcher. You have a bunch of right-handed hitters. Robertson can play first in a platoon. Aviles could play second while Auerbach plays short. And I don't know who's going to get the ground balls that roll through the two guys. And a couple of outfielders, Lum and Summers. So nice sticks there, but of course defense is what it is. So Pastore and Larry Mack are here still, which is good news for them. Jack Billingham's still here, and Hal Dews. So this Dews card won a playoff game and then got blown out in a playoff game. It's a pretty good card though. 5 and 6. This is like his only year with the Expos. Anytime you see a guy with just like one freaky good year like this, good candidate for an expansion team. This is the extra Pastore card you have from the same year, 1980. Because Strat-O-Matic, of course, they printed out an extra set because originally all the 1980 pitchers had all their hits on 4-4. So they did a reissue when the Strat-O-Matic fans had enough of those silly cards. So in the bullpen, you got lefties. You got a starting rotation and all the lefties you need. That's pretty easy to finish, particularly for a team that doesn't prize pitching anyway. So it seems like you could use all your first 6 draft choices all on offense. Let's see what the Rockies decide to do with their 77 guys. Okay, let's take a look and see what the Rockies decide to do with their 77 guys. First guy is Wayne Garrett. Of course, he started with the Mets. Sometimes he hit lefties pretty well, sometimes he can't. And he plays through to 78. Qualifies for waivers in 78. He'd have to from either Montreal or St. Louis. Let's see if he does. Does he have a card with Montreal or St. Louis in 1978? We are looking at the website superds.tripod.com, which has roster sheets for all the Strat teams. Very cool resource. So we're looking to see if Wayne Garrett actually exists in this timeline. Let's look at the extra players now. And there he is. So they made his extra card for the Cardinals. He qualifies for waivers. So there you go. Wayne Garrett. Can you continue? Might not be claimed, but he at least qualifies for waivers. Next name, Ron Hodges, another former Met. Similar sort of, kind of thing going on there. Very Wayne Garrett-esh for Ron. As he walked, left-handed batter, played his whole career with the Mets. And does he have a card? Can he qualify for waivers in 78 with the Mets? Let's see. I have to check up here under Mets, and he does. He qualifies for waivers. All right, both those guys can look for work anywhere they want. Congratulations, Hodges and Garrett. All right, Rick Monday will be a keeper, folks, and we can tell you which year it'll be. Rockies, or Rick Monday, loves staying in one city instead of bouncing around. Perfect candidate for an expansion team. A guy who played for the Cubs. Actually played for the A's. Kansas City and Oakland A's. And he played for the Cubs. And he played for the Dodgers. But instead of all this movement around, he found one singular home in Colorado. And that's where we'd leave him. And he'll continue his career. So 77 card was actually a pretty yucky card. 230, 713 OPS. He's got a couple options here. He's an all-star in 78 for the Dodgers. His only all-star appearance, even though he hit 254. But the prize card is this 81 card. In limited playing time, here are the numbers. 315, 423, 608, 1031. The famous Blue Monday card. Blue Monday in Montreal, 10th inning homer. Put the Dodgers in the World Series, knocking out the Montreal Expos, and the Dodgers won that World Series. Thanks to Blue Monday, Rick Monday. So he is a keeper. Next up, Don Money. Monday and Money seem to go together for this team. Another guy who bounced around, and we didn't like that. He started with the Phillies, had some nice years, and then some lean years. Then he went to the Brewers, moved around their infield, and finished with Milwaukee. 2 teams. But frankly, the Phillies and Brewers will have options in their infields and don't necessarily miss him that much. So here we are in the timeline. He's an all-star for Milwaukee in 77. Gets MVP votes in 78. That'll probably be the keeper card. If you're a Brewer fan out there, don't worry. Your team is already stacked. Don't worry about losing this one player, Don Money, from this team. Again, you got to make the expansion teams decent. They can't be awful doormats. What's the point of playing games with them? It's a waste of time. They have to be competitive. All right, next guy, Andre Mora. How many Andre Moras are there? Short little career here in the late 70s with Baltimore. From Mexico. And let's see if he qualifies for waivers in 78 with Baltimore. So we're going to look under the Orioles outfielders. A. Mora. He qualifies for waivers. As I said before in this process, a couple things. This first column is a keeper. And the keepers are worth 10,000 units, $10,000, 10,000 tokens. The second column is a guy who's on waivers, worth $100 or 100 tokens. In the third column, he's been retired. He's worth $1 or 1 token. And you can move guys throughout from each of the columns before the draft is done. Though if a guy is retired, he would not have a card, theoretically, in one of the future years, so he can't be a keeper and a waiver. So we like to get as few retirements as possible. All right, next up, Jason Thompson. Another guy found success with a couple teams. 3 teams, I believe. Wearing a Pirates garb there. I mean, really, the Tigers, the Angels, and the Pirates. And then later Montreal, just for a year. But really, when you look at his production, you're like, why didn't these guys hold on to him? He had some nice years with the Tigers. His 1 year in California was a great year. 1980, split half a year with the Angels. And then in Pittsburgh, where he finished up, he had a couple nice years. So when a guy bounces between like 3 teams, you really don't know what his identity is. His identity will be a full-time Colorado Rocky. They'll love to have this guy. Remember, the Rockies love sluggers who can get on base. Strikeouts they don't care about. And that's exactly what Jason Thompson does. He's an all-star in 78. And from 78 to 81, you could say his best year is 78. Though 80 is a good year. But definite keeper. This team always goes for the sluggers before pitching. And they've got 3 of them right there. Monday, Money, and Jason Thompson will probably be playing for this team through 1984, all 3 of these guys, which would be the next 5 years in the carryover league. All right, next up we have a couple relievers. Elias Sosa. Interesting. He might have a good year or 2 coming up. 78 and 79. He's got 2 good years, but he's a definite keeper. But question remains, maybe they trade him because you can only keep 4. And the last guy is another lifetime Rocky, Ron Reed. So they'll take Reed over Sosa. What they like about Reed is he gets lefties out very well. Reed has some good years with the Phillies coming up too in the early 80s. So they're going to take Reed over Sosa. Keeper. So you see we got 5 keepers. You can only keep 4. So before the draft starts, they have to get on the phone. Teams are going to call about all 5 of these guys. But most likely they'll keep the hitting. And then they'll most likely keep Ron Reed, and Sosa is a trade target. So you don't want to cut this guy. You want to at least see what you can get in a trade before you cut him, because he's too good. He's too much of a quality player, and somebody's going to make you an offer. And the way to make trades with guys who cards that have expired is to trade like a 78, 79, or 80 player and to match up the lost value, so that the Rockies would trade a mediocre. Let's say the Rockies would get rid of, say, 1980 Ramon Aviles and get a better 1980 player for Monji. Or one of these other guys in here. It doesn't matter too much. Rich Hinton, 1978 Rich Hinton. They put him in the deal with the rights to Elias Sosa, and they get a better player to replace Rich Hinton. That's how you do that. Or you throw in a draft token. So that is the number 5 and 3. We're doing very well here. We only have 4 more teams left in our league. And we have a high number of... This number, if you parse it out, this number 1146545, if you draw a line between the third, after the 3rd digit, and then after the 5th digit, it says that you have 114... I'll tell you what it says. It says you have 114 of those things. You have 65 of these things. And 45 of these things. So the key number here is this 3rd column. You don't want more than 64. If you have more than 64 retired guys, you've got to figure out what to do, because that means you're going to be short cards in the following draft, because teams are going to need extra draft picks for this empty, -4, it's supposed to be -64. So with the 4 remaining playoff teams, if they each have 2 retired guys, that number is 53. You're well under 65 at that point, 64 at that point. And then you can start sliding some of these waivered guys we just looked at into the retired category. Because guys who are in the retired category aren't retired. It just means that they are near retirement, and they may still have a Strat-O-Matic card, though it's probably not desirable. So this is the current math in the league. You add up the total number here of 114, 65, and 45. You have 224, and there's 256 cards to do, which means there are 32 more 1977 cards to evaluate, and those 32 cards are on the 4 remaining teams in the league: Baltimore, California, Cincinnati, and Houston. Teams playing in the League Championship Series. Hope that makes sense to everybody here. Should probably do that as a global video, like a one-time video about this. I try and repeat it as much as I can to make it easily explainable. Anyway, thanks for checking out Eliminating the Colorado Rockies. We'll see you next time.